Hello, everybody. It's Andrea Klunder, and I am here. I sound very loud to myself. I am here to give you a special announcement and share with you my excitement. When I opened my email this morning, I discovered a message from the Signal Awards letting us know that one of our shows that we produce here at the Creative Impostor Studios, Key Change Creating Opera for All Voices, from the Santa Fe Opera, is a finalist in two categories for the 2023 Signal Awards. So just wanted to come in here and share that great news with you, tell you a little bit about Key Change, and also invite you to vote for us for the People's Choice, Listener's Choice. I keep forgetting what it's called because I'm just too excited. I can't keep all my details straight. But I wanted to let you know a little bit about it and invite you to celebrate and share with me this awesome news. It's a big accomplishment to be a finalist. This is actually our first time ever applying for or submitting to a podcast awards show. And I selected the Signal Awards because I was really impressed with their panel of judges who have placed us into the finalists. I thought that it was a great panel of industry experts from different areas, a diverse panel that I trusted with the decision making process, and because the Signal Awards represent a lot of categories, like recognition for categories that I don't see in other awards shows. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the two categories that we are nominated in right now. And also, I felt like they made everything very accessible uh, for an independent producer. So here at the Creative Imposter Studios, we are a very small production agency, and we work with a very limited number of clients by design. It's not just me behind the scenes here, but we don't have a huge team, and it is definitely a collaborative effort amongst our small team here. And a lot of the bigger awards shows seem to be awards shows. See, I just called it a show. A lot of the bigger awards programs seem to be dominated by larger networks, um, NPR style networks, Spotify owned networks and studios and shows that have enormous teams and budgets behind them and or celebrity names. And we have none of that here. We're working on a very indie scale, and this is one of the only awards shows that I felt like um, had a great reputation, had industry leaders, reputable industry leaders, and was also accessible for independent creators. And that was one of the reasons why I chose to support them with our submission fees and with our show content. And so, Key Change specifically is a show that I have been producing with the Santa Fe Opera, particularly their Department of Community Engagement. We're about to celebrate our fifth season, our fifth anniversary here. And it is not just a podcast about opera. So even if you're not an opera fan, there's still a lot of interesting content in this show that might be appealing to you. What we started doing is chronicling and following this initiative led by the Community Engagement Department of Opera for All Voices, which is commissioning new work by American composers telling more diverse stories and commissioning these works in such a way that accessibility is a huge point. So they're in English, they are short, less than 90 minutes each, and they are designed to be performed with a small cast and a small pit of orchestra musicians so that they can be produced by a large range of companies in different spaces, different contexts, different communities, and they can present stories that resonate with different groups of American audiences on a large and very personal and intimate scale. Large, personal, and intimate doesn't really go together, but a lot of different people. They can appeal to a large range, a diverse range of audiences in different spaces, but have a very intimate, very personal connection to the story and to what's being communicated and expressed through these operas. This show is one of my favorite shows to produce because we have a lot of creative freedom to weave together a narrative from episode to episode and season to season, following the stories of these various operas that are being imagined, created, produced, and performed for the first time ever through their world premieres. And we get to weave storytelling, narration, music, all these different elements that make for a really rich sonic texture. And it's just a joy and a delight to work on, especially because the team at the Santa Fe Opera in community engagement that I work with are co-hosts Andrea Fellows Feinberg and Anna Garcia, previous co-hosts that we've had, guest co-hosts that we've had, guests. Everyone is so creative and committed to the storytelling that it is just a work of love and passion and creativity that we all love to produce and create. And I think that comes across in the storytelling, it comes across in the final episodes. The two categories that we are nominated, or not nominated, we submitted for, but the two categories that we're finalists for are uh, music show. So this is the entirety of the podcast, but particularly the last 4 or 5 episodes that we have released in the past year. And these episodes include content from several of the operas that have either had their world premiere or are working their way toward a world premiere and are in development right now. And so the whole show is nominated in the category of Best Music Podcast. And then also they have awards for individual episodes that stand out. And so the episode that is nominated in the category of Best Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion podcast is called Telling Hard Truths. And this is an episode that we recorded in conjunction with the world premiere of an opera called This Little Light of Mine. And this is an opera based on the life experience of civil rights activist Fannie Lou Hamer. And we have several episodes in the Key Change series that are following the story of This Little Light of Mine, talking with the different creators and writers and composers. And there's only one writer and one composer, but different creators and interpretive artists who are bringing this world premiere to light. And we also got to talk with the last living daughter and descendant of Fannie Lou Hamer, Cookie. And Cookie is featured in this episode, and it is emotionally, when I was there in person in Santa Fe, hearing Cookie speak about Fannie Lou and the life of Fannie Lou, I was like there as a professional. I was recording her talk, and I was trying to hold myself together emotionally because of how difficult and heartfelt and important what she was saying was. And she was specifically, in that moment that I was recording her, she was speaking to a group of high school students who had come for the dress rehearsal of the world premiere. And most of them had never heard of Fannie Lou Hamer. They had learned a little bit about her in their class before they came to the opera. And so they were having this really cool experience for the first time of hearing this story and sort of processing some of the history of our country when it comes to voting rights and civil rights. And I was there recording her speech and recording her talk. And I just felt like it was such a magical moment. And I felt very privileged and honored to be there in that moment, and knowing that she was there about to see for the first time an opera created about the life of her mother, who was this amazing woman. And she wasn't her biological mother. That's a whole story that's partly included in that episode. But the unfortunate or sad thing is that after we recorded that episode and published that episode, Cookie actually passed away and is no longer with us. And so that was one of the last documented, not the, I don't know if it was the last, but it was one of the last documented moments, interactions that were documented with her. And it's really a magical episode. Even if you haven't been following along the story of This Little Light of Mine on Key Change, that episode is very meaningful. There are other elements to the episode as well that help support the storytelling and really give context to how this type of storytelling is relevant and important in today's society. And so those are the two categories: music for the whole show of Key Change, and diversity, equity, and inclusion for that particular episode. We're overjoyed to be finalists. We're so proud of this work. And I think that's also, I mentioned that this is our first time as the Creative Imposter Studios submitting work that we've done, even though we've been producing podcasts since 2017. So that's almost 7 years now that we've been producing podcasts. This is my first time submitting anything to for awards. And I think it's because overall, this last year, we've produced some of the best work that I know I've ever been a part of. And with some of these shows, Key Change in particular, also Encounter Culture from the New Mexico Department of Cultural Affairs, we've definitely hit a stride where the depth and the quality and the um, significance of the work is something that I am so proud of, that I want to give it more visibility. I want to share it with more people. I want this work to be out there and be more visible. And, as I mentioned, us being a small studio and my expertise really being in production and storytelling, I'm not a PR genius. I'm not a visibility genius. Those are not the things that that's not where I'm comfortable in sharing work and getting the word out there and becoming more visible. And so am really hoping that a platform like this, an opportunity like this to be recognized on a more national scale, will help get the work and the story and the guests' voices out there on a broader for a broader audience, for more people to experience and perhaps be touched by. And so I would really love for you to support us. I'd really love for you to help us out. And there are a few different ways that you can do that. So I personally, I'm not a huge fan of the award show model of it being a popularity contest where whoever has the biggest audience who's willing to vote for them on social media wins. And I'm grateful that the Signal Awards have judging panel awards that are given, and also the People's Choice Listeners Choice Awards. So it's not just a popularity contest on who has the biggest audience, because the biggest audience is literally never me. so but that being said, you can vote for Key Change in both of those categories. So if you are willing and able to do that, we would love for you to hop on over to the Signal Awards voting page. You can search for Key Change, or I've provided the direct links in the description for this stream. There's one voting link for best music show and one voting link for best DEI episode. So please, 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 if you are willing and able, please give us a vote in either or both of those categories before October 5th. So there isn't a ton of time for voting. The window is fairly small, but please give us a vote before October 5th. We would really love for you to do that. But even more importantly, honestly, than voting for the awards, is to listen to the show itself. And I would like to actually, let's see here if I can post um, where you can listen to Key Change. So you can find Key Change on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of the favorite listening apps that you may use, Amazon Music, anywhere where you listen to podcasts, you can definitely find Key Change there. Side note, there are a few different podcasts called Key Change. So definitely look for the one with the subtitle Creating Opera for All Voices, or the one from Santa Fe Opera. There's a website here where you can find our episodes, and you can find the links to our show on Apple and Spotify. And the episode, again, that is nominated in the diversity, equity, and inclusion category is called Telling Hard Truths. So that's how you can support us. You can vote for us for the Signal Awards by October 5th. You can listen to the show, which is the most important thing that you could do, and that I would really appreciate if you check that out. And hopefully, it'll provide some value for you. And thirdly, you can tell other people about it. So if you do check out the podcast and you think it's cool and you can think of somebody who might be interested in those topics, I would love for you to share the podcast with someone else, share the voting links with someone else, and let us know what you think about the show. Let us know um, what your feedback is, how it resonates with you, what you find interesting about it, what you'd like to hear more of. We are about to go into production for our 5th season, our anniversary season, and that is with co-hosts Andrea Fellows-Feinberg and Anna Garcia. And we're getting ready to produce the next batch of episodes. And so we'd love to know what you would like to hear more about, or what you're curious about, or what you're American opera, opera commissioning, American opera storytelling questions might be. So thanks so much for watching this video. Thanks for being a part of the Creative Imposter Studios audience. And updates will be coming in October to see if we